Right, coming to you from the badminton arena here in Paris, and one of the most heartwarming results here in this arena has been that of Lakshya Sen absolutely dismissing HS Prannoy in that pre-quarter final encounter. But you know, more than the win, and I'll get to the win a little bit later, but I think for me, the moment that I remember the most from that game today was something that happened post the game, which is something that I can't share with you in terms of visuals, but I'll try and narrate it. And that happened when we get to meet as journalists, get to meet the players in the mixed zone when they come out. We met Lakshya first. We spoke to him, and two things really stand out in this interaction, which is why I want to point that out and really convey it to you and narrate it to you. First thing, Lakshya requested the media that I'm really tired, and he has been. He's played the most amount of matches, all back to back daily. His next game is also in less than or slightly more than 24 hours from now. So he said, I'm really tired. I need to do my recovery as well. Don't have too much time. So if you don't keep me for very long, because he has to do multiple interviews with the broadcaster, foreign media, then by the time he comes. So everyone agreed to him, and we just took two questions. Usually we take 10, 12, 15 questions, just two questions we took. He was very happy, but the point that I really want to make there in that interaction was that the first thing he said that, and he wasn't asked that question, he was asked about his win, but he said that it's very unfortunate that I had to play an Indian, and one of us had to go out. So more than his win, he was feeling that he's knocked a fellow Indian out, and I thought that was really heartwarming. And for him to even think about that, he said, one of us had to go out, and I feel really bad in that sense that Prannoy had to go out. And once he is done with that, then he talks about his match. So that I thought showed great camaraderie, great respect for each other, and the feeling of nationalism, feeling for each other, each other's result, feeling for a fellow countryman. So that I thought was very nice, a great gesture by Lakshya Sen. But once he's done, he leaves after those two questions that I mentioned. Then came Prannoy, and this is something that is going to stay with me for very long. Prannoy comes, the first question is asked to him about what happened, because if you see the game, it was just one-way traffic. At one point it looked like Prannoy had given up. It was just a one-sided encounter, and he was asked about the time leading up to this match, and it had been tough for him because, just to give you a bit of a context, he had multiple illnesses recently, and then just about less than a month ago, it was early July if I'm not mistaken, he was also diagnosed with chikungunya, and he was bedridden for a long time, and just about recovered in time to play in the Paris Games. His previous games, he had even mentioned that he's just happy he could make it, because chikungunya, as he mentioned, it just drains you out. You are on drip sometime, your muscles really take the toll, muscle ache is there, and it remains like that for months there onwards. Your joints end up paining. In fact, Prannoy himself said that earlier, not today, but earlier he had said that if that chikungunya bout had come a week or 2 weeks later, he wouldn't have been able to make the Olympics. So he was just glad that it happened slightly earlier and he could make the Olympics. That's one. But coming back to that question, the first question was asked to him that you endured so many difficulties, but you reached here, gave your best, but you lost. And he just started choking, he just started crying, and I was just next to him, looking at him, and I was just feeling for that guy. So we all kept quiet, waited for him. He went down, took out a towel from his kit, wiped his tear, waited, started speaking a little bit more, and gradually he was trying to he was almost choking on his tears. He was still trying to speak. Spoke for like 10-20 seconds, and then again, inconsolable, just started crying again. And then, we ourselves said that it's okay, Prannoy, you don't have to speak. You take your time, you go, maybe sometime later we'll interact with you. And he took that option, just picked up his bag and left. I really felt for the guy there, because Olympics is everyone's dream. He came here with a lot of dreams as well. Unfortunate that he had those bouts of fever, viral infections just leading up to this game. Maybe not the best, though I'm not going to put it down to that. See, it's not that he was completely down and out. You just look back at the in his round robin, he was absolutely good. He won comfortably in those encounters against his previous opponents to qualify for the pre-quarter final. But today on the day, Lakshya was too good, and this is something, if you've been watching our preview, we had pointed out that on the day Lakshya would be too good, and that's exactly he was. I mean, I don't even know what kind of in-depth analysis to do, because there was no one area where Lakshya seemed to be better than Prannoy in all areas, whether it was his net play, whether it was stamina, whether it was his aggressive smashing, whether it was his lobs going back, whether it was his controlling of errors, all of it top notch. I think it was an outstanding performance. No wonder now you realize how he dismissed someone like Jonathan Christie as well in straight games might I had from these games. That just tells you in what good form Lakshya is at the moment, and exactly what he's done now. He's going to be one of the favorites to win a medal. He was always my dark horse to win a medal. He's well on his course now on a quarter final, but one step at a time. I don't want to get ahead of myself. You've had one player make it thus far. Let's see what the future holds for him. At the moment there's also PV Sindhu against Bintao, a top contender, and she was always going to come up against Chinese players because there were a couple Chinese players in her half. But again, if you have to win, you have to beat the best players also. It's Olympic times, and Sindhu somehow or the other always ends up getting her best when it comes to the Olympic Games, as you know, two-time medalist. So let's see how her game pans out. We'll of course bring you all the latest updates from the badminton arena and from the Paris Olympics per se. You keep watching Sports Today, subscribe if you haven't already, and take care guys, all the very best. Share it with your sport loving friends, these videos, and then join in the discussion. Give us a like if you're enjoying our content too. Take care. Nikhil Nas signing off. Bye bye.